This is a true story of the life of Bernard, a black American boy who used to work as a boot polisher. In his childhood he had thought that one day he would become a very rich man. But there was a lot of discrimination between blacks and whites in America, due to which he could not get loan from the bank, nor did he have any business opportunity. But Bernard did not give up and he continued to struggle. Bollywood silver screen presenting The Banker. This is Bernard's story. The year is 1965. Bernard lives in Washington, D.C. He is told to be careful as there are some powerful people who want to teach him a lesson. He then agrees to testify before a committee. The story goes into flashback from here. The year was 1939 when Bernard worked as a shoe polisher outside a bank in Texas. That is why he used to silently listen to everything the customers said about money transactions and real estate investments. As his customers left, he would note everything down in his diary. But he wants to learn even more. That's why he stands near the window to quietly listen to everything happening in the bank meeting. A policeman sees him and pulls him down. But Bernard manages to escape. The policeman says, "I will tell everything to your father." That night, Bernard's father scolds him for spying on white people and explains that black people are punished severely for even smaller things, because this was the time when black people were oppressed by white people. He looks at his diary and believes Bernard is very intelligent, but he also warns him that the white people will never let him earn money. But Bernard is a stubborn kind of boy. He swears that he will one day become a very rich man. The year comes 1964. Bernard is all grown up now. He is married to Eunice and has a young son. Today he goes with his wife to meet her family, where his wife's uncle tells him that there is an aircraft manufacturing company which is giving jobs to black people. Bernard refuses the offer and says that "I want to earn money through property business." Actually, his plan is to become the owner of a building and earn money through rent. But currently his family lives in a small room which belongs to his wife's uncle. That's why he gets angry and accuses Bernard of not doing his work. After dinner, Bernard's wife tells her uncle that Bernard is a genius. Soon he will fix everything. In fact, he has complete faith in Bernard. She then goes to Bernard. Bernard promises her that "soon I will take you out of here and take you to a big house." The next day Bernard takes his wife's cousin Tony to work. Tony's friend Matt compliments Bernard's car and thinks he's a rich man. So Tony tells him that Bernard owns the buildings. Later, Bernard looks at several buildings in a predominantly white area and examines their condition and prices. He likes a building. He tells his wife that he has found a very nice building. But after buying it, he won't have any money left for repairs. "That's why I need a partner." His wife takes him to meet Joe, for whom she used to work before marriage. After meeting Joe, he realizes that Joe is not serious about his work. He jokes about everything. That's why he refuses to work with him. Bernard leaves without telling her his business idea. But when he comes out, he sees that the governor of the city is coming to meet Joe because he is his friend. Although this is a big thing, it is not enough for Bernard. After some time he meets Patrick, who is the owner of the house he wants to buy. Bernard tells him, "I want to buy your house. But I need $10,000 for repairs after I buy the house. I want you to give me $10,000 as a loan." But Patrick refuses, citing some accounting reasons. But there are mistakes in his calculations, and Bernard immediately corrects them, due to which Patrick gets very impressed. But still he does not lend him the money. Before leaving, Bernard looks at a calendar sent by Reed from Mid-City Bank. Bernard then goes to the bank and asks about Reed. The clerk tells her that Reed isn't there. Bernard can see that he's inside, though, which means that he is being thrown out because of his color. which Bernard understands. That's why he decides to wait for her outside the bank. Reed finally gets off work and Nard approaches him and tells him a business idea that will benefit both him and the Patricks. Although he mentions Patrick's name here without his permission. After this he comes home, tells his wife that he did not get the loan, due to which he becomes very disappointed. Then she gets a call from Patrick's, who has found out that she used his name to talk to Reed. He asks her if she thinks what she did was right according to the rules and regulations of business. Bernard answers in the name. This makes Patrick happy because he likes people who do and follow the same old rules and regulations as he does. That is why he announces that Bernard can go to the bank in the morning and take a loan and he will be his guarantor. Bernard becomes very happy after hearing this. Today is a very big day in his life. He goes to the club to celebrate with his wife. Then Joe comes there, who comes to Bernard and teases him. This makes Bernard like him even less. The next day Bernard and Tony start working on repairing the buildings. Then a lady already living there as a tenant, who is white, sees them and reprimands them for living in a white neighborhood. Bernard explains that he is the new owner here. But that lady does not believe what he says. Shortly after, Matt arrives to help. Bernard asks him, "Are you comfortable working for a black person?" Actually, this is the era when no white person works for any black person but black people work for white people. But Matt replies that he only works for money. Now all three of them do repair work all day long. Soon two policemen arrive saying that the white lady has complained about the black people working in the building. Bernard shows them papers that prove he owns the building. After which he leaves from here. Bernard moves into an apartment after the renovation is complete. After which the white lady leaves the house because she does not want to live in the neighborhood of any black person and soon more black people come here to live on rent. Due to which the entire building gets rented in a few days. Patrick is deeply impressed and asks Bernard to be his business partner. Bernard will be responsible for selecting buildings, and Patrick will be the face of the business to avoid discrimination. Both join hands and become partners of 50 to 50%. Over the next few weeks, the two of them buy many new properties together and their business grows significantly. Matt and Tony work on the repairs, while Bernard's wife decorates the house. One day Bernard asks his wife about a house which is very nice and tells her that this house is our new house. Actually, he has bought a house for his family. Sometime later, Patrick's is found dead in his bed. After the funeral, Patrick's wife says she wants to close the business and offers Bernard only 25% of the money. Bernard stops him because his share should be 50%. But his name was not in any paper. That's why he has to either take this less money or nothing. The lawyer tells Barnard that he will need a witness to prove his share. Bernard then goes to the bank to meet Reed. But he refuses to meet her. On his way out, Bernard sees a sign that tells him the bank needs a bigger space. This means that the bank is going to vacate this space soon. He goes to Joe with his idea and tells him that he will buy the building that houses the bank. In this way, any bank renting that place will not be able to refuse to give them a loan. Which would mean that he can buy more and more new properties. Joe also likes the idea very much. But he feels that no white man would sell a banked place to black people. That's why he calls on Matt to be the face of the business. Matt is a little hesitant because he doesn't know anything about this job and leaves and goes to a restaurant. Even now he is thinking about the same thing. Then a waitress comes to him and asks him, "Are you okay?" He tells the waitress that I have got a great opportunity to work in real estate. Due to which the waitress becomes very impressed and now Matt also feels that he should work. That's why he goes to Bernard and accepts his proposal. First, let's train Matt. The first step of training is to look like rich people, learn their mannerisms, talk like them, for which he is also taught to play golf. Soon he meets a banker named Donald who agrees to loan him $2 million. Bernard assures him that he will buy the building at a low price, and now Bernard teaches Matt the accounting necessary for the job, although Matt is not very good at math. For the next few weeks, Matt works hard to learn golf and math. Initially he faces a lot of difficulties, but soon he learns everything through his hard work. He amazes everyone with his golf game and mathematical skills. He then puts on his suit. He is taught how to eat and drink, how to sit and stand. Matt manages to do calculations while playing golf, so let's decide that now he's ready. Ed's next step will be to contact the owner of the bank building, whose name is Charles. Discussing the building that houses an exclusive golf club, Joe makes some arrangements and takes Matt there as a guest, pretending to be his driver to make him appear richer. Matt impresses everyone with his golf skills and secures a meeting with Charles. Joe and Bernard train him for a week, and when the day of the meeting arrives, Matt is ready to answer all of Charles's questions. He has memorized all the calculations and pretends he is doing the math on the spot. Charles finally agrees to sell the building. After this he celebrates and decorates his office. Their business is now growing very fast and they get as much loan as they need. They buy many buildings in luxurious areas, and Matt, now financially very strong, marries the same girl who was Vitesse. Within a few months, the trio becomes the biggest real estate dealers in the state and gets a chance to meet the president. A few years later, in 1963, Bernard returns to Texas with his family. His father feels very proud seeing him. The next day he goes for a walk with his son and has to explain that there are separate water fountains for blacks and whites. Bernard stops at the place where he used to polish shoes and asks the new boys there to polish his shoes. But the boy refuses because he is a black man. Then Bernard looks at the bank where he learned everything and gets a new idea. Bernard returns to Los Angeles and tells Joe that he wants to buy the Texas bank. Joe says running a bank is a very difficult job and that the people of Texas would not like a black owner. Bernard says he'll use Matt again. Actually, Bernard knows that many black people there do not get loans from the bank. That is why there is a lot of potential for business there. After a long debate, Joe agrees, although he calls it a dangerous idea. With Donald's help, he buys the bank with the taxes. The former owner and his son Robert still hold a 20% stake. Bernard meets with all the black people in Texas and tells them that they are now welcome at the bank. However, he asks to keep it secret so that people cannot stop it due to discrimination. Arnaud and Matt together give loans to many black people, due to which gradually their business starts running very well. After 3 months, Robert starts to wonder where all these new customers suddenly came from. He follows Matt and takes a picture of him talking to Bernard. That same night, Matt's wife says, "I don't feel right here in Texas because Matt has been made a partner. Yet only he gets a salary." The next day Robert comes to Bernard's house, where Joe and Matt are already there. He tells them that I have no problem with the fact that you give loans to black people. But he is afraid that if the white people here come to know about this, then soon his bank will be completely closed because the white people here do not want black people to come to their bank and transact money. After which he shows them a government investigation letter in which there is a complaint about many such loans which have been given to people without complete documents, and an investigation will be done on this within 1 month. Robert leaves from here. Matt then asks them to buy a small bank which he will run himself. After purchasing this bank, they will divide the loans of the bank between the two banks, so that no one will know that these people have given so many loans to black people from the same bank. Those who did not even have their papers complete. Joe and Bernard feel they don't have the experience to do the job. But apart from this, they have no other way. But now Matt puts a condition before them that he will buy the new bank only if they make him their partner. Out of compulsion, he makes Matt his partner. Matt buys the small bank. On the first day, Bernard's wife disguises herself as a cleaner and monitors the bank, while Tony and Bernard plan to split the loan. The next day, Matt signs the papers. Robert tells him that the white people are withdrawing their money from the bank because they have become suspicious. Bernard and Joe suspect Robert himself of spreading the rumor. When a government official arrives to investigate, Matt panics and calls Bernard. Bernard tries to get in disguised as a cleaner but fails. The investigation reveals that Matt has made a significant accounting error and has hired a lawyer who was mentored by Robert. They realize that Robert has framed them. The result is that they suffer huge losses and now they have to pay $3 lakh. But Joe and Bernard refuse to help Matt because it was his fault. Later the case becomes one of fraud and the bank's license is cancelled. The FBI arrests Bernard and Joe. A senator in Washington wants to use this issue for political purposes. Matt is promised release if he testifies against his friends. He testifies against them in court. Bernard also had the option, but he chose to tell the truth. He says that there is talk of equality in the country. But in reality, due to discrimination, black people are not able to progress and his words are of no use. The government confiscates his property and he is sentenced to 3 years in prison. After being released from prison, Bernard and Joe discover that Matt actually testified for their own good so that he would not go to prison for a long time. He did this with their consent and bought houses for both of them before the government confiscated the money. That means now both of them have their own houses. All the remaining property was confiscated by the government. The biggest change that came from this entire incident was that due to his struggle, the Fair Housing Act was enacted in 1968, which means that any black man can buy a house near any white man, which made discrimination completely illegal. This story is about achieving a huge victory even after losing. How did you like this story? Please write in the comment box. We hope you liked this story.